Hey gamers, this is Liz Davidson, and we're doing a Kickstarter update this week. And I figured instead of showing you pictures of the Queen of Shadows co-op mode, I would just make a quick video and show you a turn. This is a slightly outdated TTS mod, so things are going to change a bit. So I didn't put traits in here, even though I'm expecting y'all to be able to use them for Queen of Shadows. And the player boards have changed a bit, but don't worry, this is absolutely going to get the point across. So hey gamers, this is Liz Davidson, and I figured instead of just taking some pictures, which would be bad screenshots anyway, I might as well make a little video to show you a taste of how the Queen of Shadows cooperative mode is going to be working for Oath. Do note this is a slightly outdated TTS mod, but it's absolutely going to be able to show you the point. So we're just going to get into it. Let's play a couple turns. So the point of the Queen of Shadows mode is to let you play cooperatively. We're absolutely still going to have the servants, so if you want to play competitive with Oath, so if you want to play competitive Oath with a bot, that will not be a problem. But we also, Ricky and I, it was really important to us for y'all to be able to have a cooperative mode as well. And so this is what we've got. Hopefully you will agree that it is fun and working pretty well. So the basic premise of this is that we, the players, are now adventurers, and we're going to be playing against the Queen of Shadows, and she is like a persistent evil who is going to be messing with the world of Oath and trying to control it. She has these very streamlined bot turns. We will basically be playing Oath as normal over here on the adventurer side of things. So in order for us to win the game, we have to do two things, but it's really more than two if you think about it. Each of us has to have one of the victory conditions for the game in the bag, and we have to clear all these little prisoners off of the board. So there are special actions you can take to remove these prisoner tokens. So if you look over here at these little title cards, let's make them nice and big. So you have Keeper of the Oath. You've got to be able to have the Oath Keeper title on its usurper side. So basically, if you usurp the Queen of Shadows, it doesn't end the game the way it normally would. It's just one of the victory conditions for the game. You would claim this card and you'd flip it over to its victory side. You've also got Keeper of Favor, so you have to get and fulfill the Vision of Rebellion. Keeper of Sights, you have to get and fulfill the Vision of Conquest. Keeper of Keys, this has more complex text because it's from the base game version, but basically you have to have more trophies from rescuing the prisoners than there are prisoners left on the map, and then you have to use the conspiracy on the Queen of Shadows. The Keeper of Relics, so you basically have to keep that, you have to fulfill that Vision of Sanctuary. And then Keeper of the Faith, you have to fulfill the vision where you have the darkest secret. So we're going to be doing normal oathy things and also dealing with the Queen of Shadows craziness is basically the way this works. So there's some special things about the Queen of Shadows you should know. I basically set up a new Chronicle here. So instead of Bandit Kingdom, if you decide to start a new cooperative Chronicle, I thought it'd be fun to have Queen of Shadows Kingdom. And so these are her little minions. Please don't get your hopes up about the color of the warbands. This is probably going to change. This is just what Ricky and I put in as a placeholder. But they're essentially warbands, but they're called minions. And wherever her minions are, her pawn is also considered to be there. So she doesn't have a separate pawn that moves. She's just wherever her minions are. Ooh. She also starts with basically everything. So she gets to be the Oath Keeper. She has a relic. She has both banners. And she also has this little deck of cards. This is the currently most nice version possible of those cards. But as we progress against her, more of these red cards get added in, and they're a lot meaner. She'll also start with 3 minions on her board. Let me just handle that right now. But we're just going to go through one round of this so y'all can kind of see how it works. So basically at the beginning of my wake phase, and of every player's wake phase, she's going to take a turn. So let's say that red's going first. Let's look at this card. Ah, yes. There's one thing I forgot to do, so we'll just chat while I do it. I need to put these priority markers out. Meant to do it, started StreamYard, So basically, these little random numbers will go out onto the sights. This helps us understand where she's going to try to take her actions. So instead of doing really complex logic stuff like we have to do with the servant to make it play like a human, the Queen of Shadows doesn't have to behave like us at all. And so she doesn't. So if you look at her first card, so that 1 and 8, that means that positions 1 and 8 are going to swap. So we're just going to move these little priority markers around. Then nothing happens at site 2 or 3, but at the 4, she is going to basically work on conquering a site. She already rules this site, so she'll just take a minion from her board and put it there. If that's not the case, you look at things like the zeal marker in the bottom right of this card to see if she is willing to attack. She will attack you for sites. And if your pawn is at a place she controls and she has enough minions, she will also attack your pawn and do a camp raid. So it's a bit of a spatial puzzle to deal with her. At site 5, she would try to take favor, but basically the way that works is that she will take 1 favor per denizen that's there, prisoner or not. But there's no denizens here, so she won't take any money. And then at 8, she will try to take a secret. She does rule site 8. So what'll happen is she will take a secret to her board. And then because she has the darkest secret in her possession, she will also move that secret to the darkest secret. So that's her whole turn. And now we can go. And basically what will happen is you advance the cards and you can then see kind of what she's going to do next. It gives you a little bit of a sense of what's in the future so that you can plan around her and do a little bit of that puzzling, because I think that's part of what makes a co-op game fun. So if it's the red player's turn, let's just say we're going to flip. Okay, we've got augury. I want to do some good searching. The other thing to note here is that these prisoners, we can't interact with them at all. However, ooh, this has appeared on here. This should also have a token on it too. So edifices will also be imprisoned. But essentially what happens is that prisoner cards, the queen possesses them. She can actually get favor off of them if she is going for favor at that site, but we can't trade with them. We can't use their card powers. It's like they're not even there. However, we can also however, the benefit to that is that we can still use all the site capacity. Prisoners do not count against site capacity. So I can still play 2 cards here. I just need to make sure that I'm not going to let the queen capture those 2, which could happen if I am not careful. So I can basically just play a normal turn of Oath. So what I want is some direction about what I should be doing. So she's got Oathkeeper Supremacy. I'm going to want to take some sites. I would really like to take the site that I'm at because I want to be able to get these secrets next turn. Remember, her pawn is considered present where her minions are, so I can't grab this secret at Wake yet. So maybe the first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and do a little campaigning. Let's just take a little shot. So let me grab some dice. How do I do? 1 for each of my little guys. Oh, that's not good. Okay, so we have 2 at this site. She has 1 minion. She gets to roll 2 dice. Oof. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm just going to sacrifice 2 guys. This is really mean of me. Sorry, y'all. But it is what it is. It's got to happen. Let's see if I get it from her. Okay, we did. Maybe I sacrificed a little too deep, but that's okay. This will go back to her board like in a normal game. My guy will come out here. And that's that. I've done my first action. The other thing I'm going to want to do pretty aggressively is dig through the deck, because if we got to fulfill a bunch of visions and stuff, I need to know kind of what the lay of the land is. So probably one of us should try to usurp, or else she'll start to roll and shorten the game, which is not good. So let's go ahead and search. And because I have augury, I can draw 1 more card. So let's do 1. Oh, well, I have to stop after a vision as normal. But I've got the initiation right. No, I don't want that. But I do perhaps want this vision of faith. So we're just going to place it here face down for now. And we're going to discard this. And we'll advance the vision tracker. All right, with 3 left, I don't necessarily want to leave this site. Let's see what these relics are, and then maybe do an adventure. Brass armies. I hate dealing with the cost of brass army, but it is so nice. Whispering stone. It's okay. I think what I'm going to do actually is I'm just going to go ahead and search again. 1, 2, 3. And I could draw a 4th because of augury. There we go. Anything good this time? So because this is a cooperative game, let's put it this way. I know that blue has a hearth advisor. So I'm going to go ahead and play Walk with Party. One thing that we decided on for this is that it is fine to just go ahead and talk about your cards because it's cooperative. We're not going to tell you can't talk to each other. I'm going to take a coin from hearth, and then these will all go into discard. Okay, so that's a full turn. We'll refresh our supply. And then it will be blue's turn. But before they can go, we have to resolve another one of these lovely cards. So here, 1 and 4 are going to swap. At site 2, the Queen of Shadows will put another warband down. At site 4, she will take a relic if there is one. Fortunately, there's not. However, no, if there's also no cards here. If there's a forge, she will pay resources to take a relic, but she can't. So no relic for her. But there is something that's going to come out that I want you to know about called an altar. So because of the lockdown on denizens in this game, it makes the economy a little bit tighter. So one of the things that Ricky and I did to help with that is we created altars that sometimes appear at these sites. So this one's an altar of favor. It'll let you siphon one favor that's not the last favor off of the people's favor. So basically you can go and get a resource from someone whose pawn is at that site. Since the Queen of Shadows currently rules this site, it's a way to swipe a little bit of resource from the people's favor. Once you use the altar, it will disappear. Most of the altars will actually grant you secrets so that you can use them really aggressively in the game. They're used to free prisoners sometimes. And they're also just important for generating economy. They're the hardest resource to get through trade. And so in a game where trade is restricted a little bit more, we wanted to make sure you had the option. And then here at 7, she does not rule site 7. So this is also interesting for instructional purposes. If she doesn't rule the site, she can't get the favor or the secret. So in this case, she would try to get a favor here, but she can't. So by taking that site, we effectively blocked some of her evil doings. And then this would rotate off. And then it would be the blue player's turn to go. So obviously, as we continue this game, it would get much more dramatic and complex, but I want to wait until things are a little bit more finalized and you're looking at better components. However, hopefully this gives you a taste. The Queen of Shadows takes really quick turns. We're pretty much playing normal oath turns, trying to figure out how to get things away from her. So I might be thinking about doing some secrets. And we're also going to have to figure out how to free these prisoners. Just the short version of that is that you can do it either by doing adventure at the site the way that you would to recover a relic, or we've repurposed the Ordeal of Lore that's leaving New Foundations in order to let you use your secrets to bust prisoners out that the Queen of Shadows has taken. There are also some special actions you'll be able to take as players. So for 1 supply, you can swap out your warbands for another adventurers on the board, so it's easier to trade sites with each other. It just costs a little bit of mustering and supply, and of course travel costs. And then there are a couple of other little surprises that you will discover as you go through. But that's co-op. Hopefully this has whetted your appetite a bit, and I'm happy to answer further questions about it. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you're enjoying the update, and happy gaming, y'all.